It's a lot of moving parts with me and Wayne. And it's important to me that I fix that.
I met Turk, shout out to Turk, you little you ain't here, but you. We gon' you when we won't you. You heard me?
Damn.
We gon' with that bitch when we won't.
And the Hot Boys was you, Dooney, Sterling, and Mosquito.
Well, it was more than that, but everybody like started going to jail, started hanging out other places.
But y'all see this shit, man. Y'all see what's going on. I think No Limit won. You know, that's my honest opinion. They was more organized. They was grown up about the situation.
You guys, it finally looks like Lil Wayne has had enough of keeping quiet and acting like everything's cool. After Birdman straight up went off on Turk during that explosive Cash Money vs. No Limit showdown, fans started reading between the lines, and Wayne's silence spoke volumes. You could see it in his face, in his body language. That pain ran deep. These weren't just business partners, they were family. The Hot Boys weren't just a rap group. They were a brotherhood built from the ground up, hustling their way from the streets to global fame. For years, Wayne stood by Birdman's side, calling him a father figure. Even when rumors swirled about shady deals and missing money, he defended him in interviews, in songs, in public, everything. But this time, that quiet reaction from Wayne felt different. It was like all those years of loyalty had finally hit a wall. Because when you really think about it, the lawsuits, the label drama, the betrayals, and those cold-hearted disses, it starts to feel like Birdman didn't just break bonds, he shattered the very foundation that made Cash Money legendary. This isn't just about beef. It's about a dynasty falling apart right before our eyes. Fans who grew up on bling bling and back that ass up can't believe it's come to this. The man who once built the empire is now being blamed for tearing it down. And the craziest part? The moment that set everything off wasn't even behind closed doors. It happened live at Complex Con during the Cash Money vs. No Limit vs. battle on October 25th, 2025.
I understand our language, you feel me? But I got to say this for me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Y'all know y'all can't with me when y'all wanna with me. And I just wanna leave it at that, man. Like we gotta stop sending out these mixed messages to people because y'all, you know, don't do that. You know what I'm talking about? Respectfully.
That's when the energy shifted, the mask came off, and the real tension finally showed itself for the world to see. Fans walked in expecting a full-on Cash Money reunion. Everyone thought it would be a night of throwback magic. The hits, the hugs, the nostalgia, the Hot Boys all vibing together again. But instead of that heartwarming moment, Birdman flipped the whole vibe upside down. He snatched the mic like he had something to prove and turned the stage into pure chaos. Out of nowhere, he blurted out, "Shout out to Turk. You a little B-word, you ain't here? We gon' mess with you when we wanna mess with you." And that's when everything went silent. You could literally feel the air shift. The crowd froze like no one could believe what they just heard. Within seconds, the internet lost its mind. Clips started flying all over social media and fans began tagging Turk non-stop. People were digging up old interviews, connecting dots, and asking one question: what happened this time? Some fans were in disbelief, others were furious, saying Birdman had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. It was supposed to be a celebration of history, not a public diss in front of the whole world. Later that night, Turk decided to speak for himself. He went live, calm, collected, but you could see the disappointment all over his face. He didn't scream, didn't curse, just talked like a man who finally had enough of the disrespect. You could tell this wasn't about just one moment. This was years of loyalty, betrayal, and pain all boiling to the surface in real time. And when Turk dropped that line, "Give me my percentage," it hit like a straight-up truth bomb.
Besides that, you got the Wayne, Drake, Nicki, the Hot Boys. Before that, the Ross and Cali, all them niggas come from under my umbrella. Every last one of them niggas. Ain't too many niggas ain't been up under my umbrella. If they say it or don't say it.
The crowd went silent again because everyone knew this wasn't just about ego or hurt feelings anymore. This was about money, real cash, loyalty, and broken promises that were supposed to be settled years ago. That one sentence ripped open old wounds the public thought were long healed. It wasn't shade, it was a statement. Fans instantly started piecing everything together online, connecting dots that suddenly made too much sense. They began saying maybe this whole time, Birdman's been running the same old play, keeping people close just long enough to profit off their loyalty. If Turk's still fighting to get what's rightfully his, how many others got shortchanged behind closed doors? People were posting receipts, revisiting interviews, and pulling out old clips of artists hinting about missing money under Cash Money's empire. And through all that noise, all the drama, all the trending chaos, Lil Wayne stayed completely silent. Not a single tweet, not a single comment, nothing. But that silence spoke louder than any statement could. It was the kind of quiet that told you everything you needed to know. That maybe, deep down, Wayne already knew the truth. That maybe he'd lived that same story too. Just chose not to say it out loud this time.
What's up, Moolah?
I'm Booling. How you good?
You already know.
Yeah, man. How Lil B? How Bria?
Man, Brian, good, man. He graduated from college, man.
I know, man.
Got his own little spot, you heard me?
Man, what, man?
We'll graduate next year.
To really understand how deep this whole situation goes, you have to rewind all the way back before Cash Money Records even existed. The name Hot Boys wasn't some clever marketing scheme cooked up for the charts. Nah, it started in the late 80s, deep in the Magnolia projects of New Orleans, and it had nothing to do with music at first. The original Hot Boys were the real deal. Street legends. We're talking Sterling, Doney, Mosquito, and Terrence Gangster Williams, who just so happened to be Birdman's older brother. These guys didn't play games, they ran the city. They were feared, respected, and straight up dangerous. Their name alone commanded attention long before anyone had even stepped into a studio with a mic. But the streets don't forgive mistakes, and the story turned tragic fast. One by one, these original Hot Boys were either killed or locked up, leaving only Gangster Williams to carry the torch. And it was only after all that pain and loss that Birdman stepped in, flipping that hard-earned street name into a multi-million-dollar music brand. It's wild when you think about it. What started as a symbol of respect and fear in the streets became a commercial empire, but at a cost that nobody can really ignore. The legacy was there, the history was heavy, and that weight still echoes in everything Wayne, Turk, and the rest of the Hot Boys went through under Birdman's reign. So when Birdman decided to use the Hot Boys name for his new rap group, it wasn't some random move. It was straight up calculated. He saw the power behind the name, the respect it carried in the streets, and he flipped it into a full-blown empire. That legacy, born out of grit and danger, became a double-edged sword, both a blessing that opened doors and a curse that carried the weight of the past. By the mid-1990s, Birdman and his brother Slim had officially transformed Cash Money into a label that could compete with the big leagues. But to make it work, they needed a crew that could carry the essence of New Orleans just like the original Hot Boys had carried the streets. That's when Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG stepped up, becoming the new age Hot Boys. These guys weren't just artists. They had the look, the hunger, and the raw energy to match the city's pulse. They were ready to take the legacy of the streets and turn it into music that would dominate the charts. Fans felt it in every track. The ambition, the fire, and that undeniable connection to New Orleans culture. Birdman had successfully rebranded a street legend into a musical dynasty, and at first, it seemed unstoppable. The New Age Hot Boys were set to redefine what it meant to rise from nothing and claim the spotlight, all while carrying the heavy name of those who came before them. Birdman saw dollar signs, plain and simple. He didn't just create artists, he packaged legends before they even hit the charts. The new Hot Boys were everywhere. Every mixtape, every stage, dripping in flashy jewelry, rolling in luxury cars, and preaching loyalty to baby like it was gospel. And it worked. Albums like Get It How You Live and Guerrilla Warfare skyrocketed them to superstardom, cementing their place in hip-hop history. But here's the thing, that loyalty came with a cost. Birdman made sure he controlled everything. Contracts, royalties, publishing rights. He literally owned the dream while the guys just lived in it. At first, nobody questioned it. Birdman wasn't just the boss, he was the father figure, the provider, the guy who supposedly had their backs. But as soon as the money started pouring in and the numbers didn't match what was promised, cracks began to appear. Juvenile was the first to leave, furious about missing payments. BG followed, straight up calling Birdman a crook. Turk got locked up, and when he finally got out, the money he thought was waiting, gone, vanished, like it never existed. Through all this, Wayne stayed quiet. He defended Birdman in interviews, called him Pops, and refused to say a single bad word. but even he couldn't ignore the signs forever. Deep down, he started seeing the pattern. Birdman wasn't just CEO, he was the gatekeeper. Step out of line, ask questions, or challenge him, and your career hit a wall. Everyone else had felt it. Everyone else had been burned. Wayne might have been the youngest in the room, but he was sharp as a tack. He watched it all unfold, saw what happened to the others, and slowly, ever so quietly, he began plotting his own exit. An exit that wouldn't just protect him, but would reshape hip-hop forever. It wasn't just about money or respect anymore. It was about freedom, legacy, and finally taking control of a career that had been manipulated for too long. The stage was set, and Wayne was ready to rewrite the rules, a move that no one saw coming, but that would leave an unforgettable mark on the game.
I gave Wayne about $400 to $500 million. Drake got about $500 million, and Nicki got about $300-400 million out my pocket, no cap.
Birdman saw dollar signs everywhere he looked. He didn't just create artists. He marketed the hot boys like straight-up legends before they even hit the charts. Suddenly, the group was on every mixtape, every stage, rocking flashy chains, cruising in luxury cars, and preaching loyalty to Baby like it was the only rule that mattered. And it worked. Albums like Get It How You Live and Guerrilla Warfare catapulted them to superstardom, making the world take notice. But here's the catch. That loyalty had a hidden price tag. Birdman made sure he controlled everything: contracts, royalties, publishing rights. He literally owned the dream, while the guys just lived inside it. At first, nobody questioned it. Birdman was the boss, the father figure, the provider, the man everyone relied on. But once the checks started rolling in and the numbers didn't match the promises, cracks began to show. Juvenile was the first to leave, complaining about missing payments. BG followed, calling Birdman a crook. Turk got locked up, and when he finally came home, the money he expected, gone. Poof, like it never existed. Through it all, Wayne stayed quiet. He defended Birdman in interviews, called him Pops, and refused to say anything bad. But even he couldn't ignore the signs forever. Birdman wasn't just the CEO, he was the gatekeeper. Step out of line, question him, and your career froze instantly. Wayne may have been the youngest in the room, but he was sharp. He watched it all unfold, saw what happened to the others, and quietly began preparing his own exit. An exit that would shake hip-hop to its core. Even on stage, it was impossible for Wayne to have any genuine moment of feeling. I was in performance mode, he said later. I was thinking about the next verse, trying to make sure I didn't mess up a line, so honestly, I just had to push everything else aside. That kind of professionalism was Wayne's shield, but inside, the frustration was building. By 2015, Wayne couldn't take it anymore. He filed a massive $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money Records. He claimed he was owed an $8 million advance, plus another $2 million once Thaw Carter fee was completed. On top of that, Birdman allegedly failed to pay profits from Wayne's own label, Young Money Entertainment. Essentially, Birdman was pocketing the profits while Wayne kept the brand alive and thriving. Birdman denied all claims, insisting he never held Wayne's music hostage. But behind the scenes, Wayne was furious. His biggest project, Thaw Carter fee, got delayed for years thanks to the same money disputes that had plagued him for over a decade. Finally, in 2018, they reached a settlement rumored to be well over $10 million. But Birdman later bragged that he'd given Wayne anywhere from $400 to $500 million, a claim no one believed. So even though the cameras captured hugs and smiles, the piece was nothing more than surface-level optics. Fans knew better. Everyone knew that under the public handshakes, the tension, betrayal, and unfinished business were still simmering. A reminder that money, loyalty, and power could easily destroy even the tightest brotherhood. To be fair, Birdman has tried to defend himself publicly, at least on the surface. For years, he's claimed that everyone got paid and that people just don't understand how the business really works. He's even said that he gave Wayne hundreds of millions through Universal's distribution deals, but every time he drops those numbers, they never match the receipts. No cap. Fans and former artists can see through it. Meanwhile, Birdman keeps flaunting his lavish lifestyle. Private jets, diamond watches, luxury gifts, all while most of his former artists are either rebuilding their lives or still waiting on the royalties they were promised. And that's the part that cuts the deepest. Birdman built his empire on loyalty, family, and trust. But when the money started talking, the family disappeared like smoke in the wind. It's almost poetic how fast loyalty faded when cash became the language of the room. Just when it seemed like things might settle down, here comes Gangsta Williams. In 2022, Birdman's older brother, the original hot boy who survived the streets and prison, was released after serving over 23 years behind bars. His release shook the foundation of the cash money world. Suddenly, gangsters started speaking out, giving interviews about the real hot boys, the street legends, and exposing the untold truth behind Cash Money's beginnings. The man who witnessed it all firsthand was finally telling the story that no one wanted to hear, and the world had to pay attention. He basically confirmed what fans already suspected. Birdman took the hot boys' name, their reputation, and even pieces of their story to build his empire, but he never gave them proper credit for it. And when people asked how he felt about his brother, Gangster, coming home after more than 2 decades, Birdman acted like he didn't even exist. That silence spoke louder than any words ever could. It made one thing clear. In Birdman's world, loyalty only flows one way. Fast forward almost 30 years, and the legacy of the hot boys is still hanging in limbo. BG is finally out of prison, trying to rebuild his life. Juvenile continues to perform solo, holding on to his own version of the fame they all shared. Turk is hitting interviews, calling Birdman out for years of betrayal. And Wayne, he's too rich, too experienced, and too scarred to ever look back with the same trust. Fans keep begging for a reunion, dreaming of the old magic, but let's be honest, the wounds are just too deep. Birdman might have built the brand, but he also broke the bond that made the Hot Boys more than just a rap group. They were a brotherhood, a symbol of loyalty, struggle, and survival, a legacy forged in the streets of New Orleans. But when money and pride stepped into the picture, everything that held them together shattered. And now, with Birdman back throwing disses and stirring the pot, it's obvious this story isn't finished. The drama, the betrayal, the empire built on borrowed glory, it's all still very much alive, and the world is watching to see what happens next. Because every time Wayne stays silent, every time Turk speaks up, and every time Birdman flexes online, we're reminded of something bigger. Behind all the hits, the chains, and the millions, there was a family that never really healed. The loyalty, the brotherhood, the trust, all of it got fractured along the way. And now the real question is this: if Birdman still owes them millions, what else does he owe them that money can't buy? Respect, closure, legacy, real bonds that were broken years ago? The story isn't just about dollars and charts. It's about the pieces of a family that the world watched fall apart. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with every twist in this saga.